switching over just a little bit though, I wanted to look at where I'm spending a lot more time is discussing just like purchasing a primary residence. People hear, about what the markets are doing right now, whether they are positive, whether it's a good time to buy. It really is more about what you're buying. If you're looking at a primary residence, I would say right now with the real estate markets being the way they are, with the increase in the Fed rates, anybody purchasing right now probably would like to look at holding that property for some time, and just to see when they can look at possibly refining, because the rates right now are somewhere around 6.61%. So that does impact a lot of people's purchasing power during the climate that we're in right now. But just speaking about that, FICO scores to get loans right now, if you're looking at an FHA loan, FICO score has to be somewhere around a 580. Conventional loans require a little higher, somewhere in the 620 range to get a decent rate. But one of the things that definitely, I would suggest people doing is making sure, regardless of which way you go, look at trying to get your score somewhere between a 620 and a 640 to just make sure that you get the best rates, because rates are dependent on your credit score. And that's obviously the credit score affects your purchasing power. Next, obviously, doing debt to income. That's another factor that also plays into purchasing a property. And obviously with an FHA loan, which I suggest most people look at for their first time home purchase, is a 3.5% down. And what they require is somewhere between 43 and 57% of your debt to income ratio. I would definitely keep it as low as possible, because you don't really want to you don't want to find yourself spending more than half of your take-home pay purchasing, when it's time to pay your mortgage. I would definitely try to keep most DTI, whether it's FHA or if it's conventional, somewhere closer to less than 40%, just to make sure that you have a lot of cushion for other expenses that would come up. Obviously, everyone who owns a home realizes that there will be repairs at some point. There will be other things to factor in, such as property taxes. If you use FHA, you're gonna have to worry about MIP, which is mortgage insurance. You have to also factor in a lot of other taxes that go into owning a home. But I would definitely keep all types of debt to income, which is really taking your gross take-home pay and then subtracting what your monthly bills are, and then seeing what's left over. And then that could definitely give you a better understanding of what you're able to purchase. And obviously, what else is required to purchase a primary residence: W-2s for those who have a salary job, and 1099 for contract workers. And they're going to require at least the last 2 years prior to purchase, just to see exactly, they do an aggregate average of the last 2 years W-2s or 1099s. And then they take that and then see exactly where you can factor in your gross, and then determine what exactly your purchasing power is. And obviously, as I've mentioned, interest rates right now are higher than they were this time last year. Interest rates are somewhere around 3.25% to 3.50. Right now, like I said, the average on a 30-year fixed is 6.61 to about 7%, depending on what your locale is and your credit score. But another thing that I've noticed also when I talk to people about looking to purchase properties, one thing that they don't factor in is closing costs. So anyone as a first-time home buyer, factoring closing costs, which is going to incorporate anything from one, property appraisal, lawyer fees, transfer tax. Those are probably the biggest ones. Those alone can run anywhere between 2% and 5% of the sales price. And if you're doing FHA, your closing costs can easily run as much as your down payment. So I always tell people, if they're looking to purchase a property, make sure that if you're going to be putting 3.5% down, look to put another 2.5 to 3% down in closing costs, just to make sure that you have some breathing room. And they will probably look at the last 2 months bank statements to make sure that you have at least that in liquid reserves.